Okay, so a while ago I had posted a video about the whole sleep paralysis and shadow people and all of that stuff. Since then, I've came across a lot of different information, like a million different videos, different opinions, and then after that video, I also had quite a few more experiences. So I guess I kind of just wanted to go into that whole ordeal. When I first posted that video, I didn't really have a whole lot of understanding. I only did maybe a full day's research into different things, and as I said in the other video, I've always been very spiritual. Well, not always, but for the past few years or so, since 19, about 3-4 years, was when I really started getting into it, I guess. Anyway, since then I had a couple other sleep paralysis experiences where, for instance, I fell asleep on the couch and I started feeling it coming on, and they hear the ringing in the ears, and all of a sudden I realized I can't move. And one of the times I heard a really, really deep voice. It kind of reminded me of like the smog monster or whatever from Ferngully, and it had screamed something in my ear, and it was so loud that my right eardrum was rattling, and that wasn't in my head. Like, I could feel it perfectly, and the voice was, it just got louder and louder and louder. And that time I was pretty scared, so I tried, every different way I could think of to force it out. And then finally I realized, like, I'm not going to rely on anything else. I'm going to try to do it myself and see if that works. So what I had did was I demanded for it in my head to leave, and that I had power over it. And I forced it out, and the second I did that and I put strong force and intention behind it, the voice, like, almost screamed, but it was like that deep yell. And then it just faded out, my eardrum stopped rattling, and I was able to sit up. And then there was another time where it happened on the couch again, and I heard little kids, and there was maybe 3 of them, and I could hear them perfectly clear. And at the time when it was happening, I could hear every word they said. And then when I finally snapped out of it, I couldn't remember for the life of me what they were saying. And then there's another time on the couch where it started kicking in, and I opened my eyes and I was trying to look around, and then I was able to kind of move my feet and everything again. And then I heard the toilet flush. So then I really started trying to snap out of it. And, I'm trying to break out of it or whatever. And finally I snap out of it, and I go running into the bathroom to see if, the water is moving or whatever. Water wasn't moving. So clearly the toilet flush sound was in my head, or however you want to say it. But since then, I've learned that the whole sleep paralysis thing is actually the beginning stages of astral projection. So I started doing more reading into that because I came across quite a few videos of people who said they went through the same exact thing, the same exact sounds. They saw shadow figures, they saw all kinds of things. And once they started embracing it, which, to be honest, when I had read comments before in my previous video saying to embrace it and see what happens, and I didn't have a very good understanding of what was going on, so of course I was thinking good and bad entities, and I'm not going to embrace something that felt bad. But then I finally realized that it only felt bad because I lacked an understanding of what was going on. And anytime something like that happens to you, if you don't understand what's going on and you're not sure which answers to look to or anything like that, it's terrifying. And your mind's going to put this terrifying aspect onto what's happening to you. And so once I started coming across more videos that talked about the whole astral projection thing and out-of-body experiences, which I believe in entirely because I've had out-of-body experiences before and didn't understand them. I thought it was just a dream. So after coming across videos like that, I decided, okay, there's nothing to fear. And so recently, maybe a week or 2 ago, I took off this necklace that I was wearing, this black tourmaline necklace of stone, and it was working really well in stopping that from happening because it's a grounding stone. And I decided, okay, I'm not gonna sleep with that anymore. So I tried not to sleep with it, and I started turning my light off, because for a while sleeping with the light on was really helping me. So I know in comments in my previous video, people had asked for, advice on what helps and stuff. And personally, sleeping with the light on really helped. And then I hung a dream catcher above my bed, and I think you can actually see it in the background. And that actually helped out a lot too. But I think that was more so because I believed that it would stop it from happening, and I believed that the necklace would ground me enough to prevent any outside influences from affecting me. And as I'm sure a lot of you know, the whole law of attraction and how we draw in what we believe, and just like our fears, what we fear the most, we start to draw into our lives because we're always thinking about it. It's on our minds, and we're putting those thoughts into the universe. And so once I started taking off the necklace, I started embracing it, and I started telling myself, like, I want it to happen. I know what's going on now. I know there's nothing to be afraid of. So I started kind of drawing it in more, and then it happened again, like I said, a week or two ago. And instead of me being afraid, I didn't even get a sense of fear. It started kicking in, and I knew instantly. I was like, okay, think of somewhere I want to go. Because I've come across videos where people say when that starts happening, embrace it, you'll get a vibrating sensation throughout your body, which when I embraced it, that's exactly what happened. Instead of feeling paralyzed and hearing the buzzing and ringing or whatever you want to call it in my ears, I started embracing it, and suddenly the ringing suppressed and my body started vibrating. And so I kept telling myself, okay, think of a specific place you want to go. And I kept telling myself I wanted to visit a friend. And I didn't quite get out of my body this time as hard as I tried, but I could see myself pulling out, and I'd see myself below me for a minute, and then I was drugged back down. And then I tried pushing out again, and then I was drugged back down. And then I tried pushing out again, and I was drugged back down. So I didn't quite get it down. But I had gone to Sedona for my birthday, which is actually where I met someone who told me to buy a black tourmaline necklace to help protect me. And she said it was worn by the ancients, and this way, whenever things like this would happen, other entities or spirits or whatever you want to consider them couldn't affect me. And I know when you astral project, sometimes there are other beings, other entities, and sometimes even other people who are astral projecting who are drawn to you because they see you're popping in and out of realities, dimensions, and us being multi-dimensional beings, naturally we're able to access those. And when we don't understand it, of course, it's terrifying because, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, the planet's going through huge vibrational changes, and the frequency is raising. And once you start becoming open to it, and becoming especially spiritual, things like that, and if you're naturally kind of sensitive and spiritually inclined, it kind of happens to you without you even asking for it, as it did me and a lot of people who commented on my video. So, lost my train of thought. So, whenever these things start happening, the earth going through all these changes, it happens to people more frequently, it's more widespread, and anyone who researches this topic or types it into YouTube, they see like a million different videos now, people talking about these sleep paralysis experiences and shadow people. And I've come to learn that the shadow people or the old hag and things like that, they're not actually bad. We perceive them as being bad, like I said, because we don't really have a good understanding of what's going on. But they're not bad. And I think the effects they have on us depend on what we believe they can do to us. And it's all about belief and knowing. And if you have that innate fear, it's going to be terrifying no matter what. But if you embrace it and know that it can't hurt you and that this is actually a level of growth, suddenly it's not fearful. And suddenly you kind of start wanting it to happen, because once you actually master it, you can go anywhere. And I can't really speak from personal experience because Clearly I haven't gone just anywhere, but back to what I was getting at before. When I was in Sedona, I met this lady, and she told me to wear the black tourmaline necklace to help protect me. And I didn't sleep with it on that night, but I was with one of my friends, and we were in the hotel room, and I started falling asleep, and I started hearing the ringing in my ears. And the second that ringing started happening, all of a sudden I was above myself, and I could see myself, I could see my friend, and I can see my body just laying there in the exact position that I ended up waking up in. And I can see my body laying there. And I can see myself trying to like fight off the ringing in my ears and kind of push it off, because at that time I still kind of had in my head that it was a negative thing affecting me and I don't know, sucking out my energy, and that my belief in that, it actually caused me to lose a lot of energy. There was a huge drainage in my even in my stamina, my everything. I was tired all the time, and that was because I believed that that's what it was doing to me, so therefore, naturally, the universe has to react accordingly, and I started becoming drained of energy. But that night, I clearly wasn't trying to go out of my body, but it happened, and I think it did because Sedona is a very open and spiritual place, and some places have more of an effect on you, obviously. Some places make it easier for it to happen, some places it'll happen far less, and I think that's kind of why it happened to me when I was out there. But I saw myself, and I was trying to fight it off, and the second I fought it off, that was when I got jerked back into my body, and I woke up, and I realized that I was laying in the position that I saw myself in. But I just kept thinking, I was just like, that was a really weird dream. That was a really weird dream. And then obviously now, the more that I read into these things, I know what happened. It was an out-of-body experience, and some people don't believe in that, and that's fine. I guess it's something that you have to experience, and even when you do experience it, it's hard to believe, because everything we've been taught in this culture, in our Western culture, Western civilization, it's seen as crazy. But if you read into other cultures and other countries and stuff like that, they know it's real. It's more common. It's more accepted. They don't push it away. It's very hard for a society that's so stuck in the physical, which of course the physical is real. Here we are, but I'm not even going to go into the whole quantum physics of reality, because technically it's not physical, but we're perceiving it that way. Our brain is decoding it that way, so therefore we are in a physical reality. But it's hard for people who are so trapped in a narrow mind frame to believe or accept these types of things. But after enduring it all, I always knew it was real, but then to actually experience it is a whole nother story. And I feel like I've gotten a lot more knowledge on these things, and actually a lot of commenters had pushed me in a direction to certain specific people like Teal Scott and others, which I am so grateful for, and thank you, because those actually helped me out a ton. And because of me going to those videos and those people, it took me to other people, and there's even been astronauts who have experienced these things and have had out-of-body experiences and have gone places and seen people and was able to describe their house to the T, and they'd never been inside of it. And people want to say, oh yeah, they're just making it up. That's fine. If you want to discredit it, that's fine. But personally, I know things like this are real, and it's hard to believe, but it's very real. And it's kind of awesome to know that these things are happening and that we're able to experience it. You don't have to be special. All you have to do is just open yourself up to it. And once you do, there's such a huge world out there, and everything, you can explore everything and anything. Like, not too long ago, I had this really weird dream that, I don't want to say it was an out-of-body experience, but it really felt like one, but either way. And this really weird dream where I was in my room, and then all of a sudden I was just like, I want to go to the moon. I need to conduct these tests. And next thing I knew, I just went up backwards and boom, I was on the moon. And I remember turning around and looking at Earth, and it was just gorgeous. And the way it was proportioned was the exact same way that the moon was proportioned that day. Like, there's the half moon, new moon, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was kind of like a quarter moon. And that was exactly how I was seeing the Earth. And I was up there, and I was trying to test the magnetism of the moon. And so I was putting up these metal poles and drawing certain lines to see, like, if it would change. And I'd walk away, and I remember I was trying to go to the dark side of the moon just to see what's over there, obviously. And when I came back, the formation in the dirt that I drew, it changed. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, it's magnetized. It's magnetized. And then all of a sudden I heard something. I was like, I need to go back home. So I just I told myself, I was like, I need to go back home. I want to go back home. And just boom, I was back in my room. And then I was like, okay, it's time to go back to sleep. So I lay down and back to sleep, and then that's when I woke up. So I've come across a lot of people who say that there's out-of-body experiences that are similar to that, but I'm going to go ahead and say that was just a dream, just because I have absolutely no idea. So I'm going to say it was a dream. But regardless, like when you start kind of getting into astral projection, and people say there's dangers to it, but there's only dangers if you believe that there are dangers, because the second you believe there are, you're going to be faced with it. But if you know that you're going to get good out of this, and you know that you have complete control over everything you do, then that's exactly what it'll be. And it's as simple as that. It kind of falls into the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, things of that sort. But it's like, I've had a lot of people commenting on there saying how terrifying their sleep paralysis experiences and things like that were and are. And I understand completely, because I was in that state of mind for quite a while up until I started coming across more information, and I decided to test it out. Like, okay, that actually seems reasonable. I'm going to test that out. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. And the second I embraced it, all of a sudden, anytime these sleep paralysis things have happened to me, I'm not terrified. I don't get an overwhelming sense of fear or evil because I don't understand it. And I think the reason why I don't get that sense of fear or evil is because now I do have a better understanding of it. So I don't know if this is helpful to anyone, or if I just come off as, I don't know, stupid, crazy, whatever. I just thought I'd post another video because my last one, I lacked a lot of understanding. And I know a lot of people who went to the video, some of them had way more understanding about it than I did, and I appreciate their insights. And some of them had just as little understanding as I did at that time. So I decided to post this one, just, hopefully I can help some people who are scared and some people who didn't understand it. And, I'm going to keep working on it, and if I make any progress or I feel like I should post another video, maybe I will. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and like I said, everyone who messaged me and everyone who commented on there, I really, really appreciate the advice, even the people who are downplaying it or whatever. I'm fascinated in understanding why people think the way they do, and why they have the opinions they do, and it's fascinating. And by all means, feel free to comment on here, message me, or any kind of opinions you have. If you feel like I'm off base on anything, I'd still love to hear your insights. And yeah, like I said, thank you, and hope you guys have a good one.